The job of NADPH is to provide electrons, very much like a battery. In fact, NADPH has a voltage, just like the battery in your phone. So it'd be very important to know that voltage. The very first person to measure the voltage of life's battery was Dr. Richard Veech. The measurement of the voltage was done in Hans Krebs' lab, and he had to measure the concentration of free cytosolic NADP plus and the concentration of free cytosolic NADPH. I recently spoke with Dr. Veech. I'm going to let him tell this story.
So I went to the lab. I got there from the airport about 8:30, and walked into Krebs' office, and he assigned me the task of doing the NADP NADPH ratio because he'd just done the NAD NADH ratio in the mitochondria. And at that Weber conference in Indianapolis, George Cahill asked him what the NADP NADPH ratio was. So Krebs assigned that topic to me. And he got up after he gave me an assignment and wanted me to start to go to work. And I said, look, I've been up all night. I'm not going to go to work. So I went home and went to bed. But he expected me to go in the lab and go to work. First year, he'd talk to me. It was very nice. Uh, but we never talked about the work. It was only when I brought him the answer that, and he didn't think the answer was right. And so then he again didn't talk to me about it. And then after he thought about it for 2 weeks, then we started writing the paper. And that was the longest paper he ever wrote. It took us about 2 or 3 months to write that paper. Well, Pat Lund was the one that trained me and told me how to do and taught me how to do enzymatic analysis and whatnot. When I finally got the answer of what the NADP NADPH ratio was, I couldn't get the glutamate dehydrogenase reaction has unequal terms, and it has alpha ketoglutarate ammonia divided by glutamate. So since you're doing them in micromoles per gram or millimolar, it 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 gives you an error in that unequal constant of 10 to the 3, and I was getting off in the calculation by 10 to the 3 because that reaction has an unequal number of metabolites, and Pat's the one that pointed that out. And once it pointed that out, then it all fell into place. So one day I said, well, Pat's better than these professors. Why don't you give her a degree? And he said, all right. And then Marion got a degree, but he didn't ever think about things like that.
Why can't you measure total NADPH?
NADP is in the cytoplasm and in the mitochondria and also bound. It's a total measurement of something that has no thermodynamic meaning. You want the NADP in the compartment of interest, whatever you're interested in, the cytoplasm or mitochondria. If you measure the total NADP, it doesn't tell you anything because it's made up of at least 3 different components: cytosolic, mitochondria, and bound. So it's just a composite number that has no meaning. If you if you if you measure the NAD and NADH ratio in whole liver, it's about 5, but the cytoplasm is about 500 to 1,000, in fact, and the mitochondria is about 5. So it doesn't. It has no real meaning, and it doesn't change between fed and starved. And so all the current papers that are the ones that are almost invariably in Cell and Nature, from where they're trying to measure NAD and NADH, they measure total values, and these, which means nothing. And these, it shows you the lack of scholarship of the current editors of these major journals.
There's just one last piece of
bookkeeping or something that's been missing here in this discussion, and that's that Dr. Veech talks about the NADP to NADPH ratio. And what's that have to do with the voltage? Well, that's what's actually measured. You plug it into the Nernst equation, which is shown here, and it gives you a voltage. So that's it.